Hi, my name is Tiffany Goodman. I'm the chef at BD Pacific Mesa, right across the street from Qualcomm. Today I'm going to be doing a brunch recipe, eggs in purgatory. I'm also going to be doing a flatbread, homemade flatbread. Very easy, something you can do at home. I have all the ingredients laid out here. I'll show you how to prep everything, each cut, and the type of spices we can use. Also, you can mix and match some of the items that I have. These are just, ingredients that I have at home, but you can switch a lot of these things to create your own version of eggs in purgatory, depending on how spicy you want it. So we're going to start with that. So here we have all the ingredients laid out. I do have dried chili flakes. You can use fresh peppers. I do have a fresh pepper available, so I'm going to use that to make it a little spicier. Garlic, some of the pepper, cumin, basil, dry basil. If you have fresh basil, use it. I had a green pepper in the fridge, so I'm using that. But if you have red bell peppers, yellow bell peppers, or even a jar of red bell peppers, you can use that. I have canned diced tomatoes, and I also have tomato sauce can. If you have a favorite tomato sauce that you make at home, you can use that, or even a jar of tomato sauce. We have the onion, of course the eggs, and I use extra virgin olive oil. And for the flatbread, we have flour. It's very simple. Flour, salt, baking powder, and water. So for the flatbread, it's 2 cups of flour. Just all-purpose flour works. Little measuring cup here. 2 cups of flour right here. It is also 1 teaspoon of salt. 1 tablespoon of baking powder, right on in there. Set that down. And then we're just gonna whisk it a little bit to get those ingredients blended up. Whisking away. Okay. That's all mixed in. And then you're going to use 1 to 1 1/4 cup of lukewarm water. I usually just do 1 cup. I think with 1 1/4 it's a little too wet. So you're just gonna put that right in there. Pour that all right in there. And then you're going to mix it up until it forms a dough, ball of dough. And you need to let this rest for about 30 minutes or so. So I'm doing this first. So, you can make the dough first and then move on to other things, prepping your other items, getting those together. Yeah, it does come out a little sticky. You don't really have to knead it. You just have to make sure that it's mixed together. And then when you let it rest, I always get a different bowl with just a little bit of oil. So as you can see, the dough's pretty sticky. So I usually use a little bit more flour in here, just on the outside. Take my gloves off. You should wear gloves when you do this because it's a little messy. So I'm going to add just a little bit more flour to this so it doesn't stick. And I have a little bit of olive oil. I'm just going to use right on in there. Just a little bit, so it doesn't stick. Okay. Shouldn't be a problem finding a warm spot in your place because it's been pretty hot lately. So, I'm going to go ahead and cover that with some plastic wrap and set that aside and let that do its thing for about 30 minutes. I'm going to select a knife. And then for the pepper, like I said, you can use red peppers, yellow peppers, orange peppers. I just happen to have this green pepper available. So just cut around the edge and then cut off the bottom, just like that. And then knock the seeds out a little bit. And then if there's any brown spots, just take those off. Get rid of those bad boys. And then go ahead and wipe that off. And then we're just going to julienne these, just basically strips. Just like that. So you can use a white onion, yellow onion, Spanish onion. Cut off the ends, then cut it in half. Take off the outer layer. You compost, this is compostable right here. And then you're just going to julienne these onions. I have a very nice pepper. Like I said, if you don't have any peppers available, like jalapenos, you can use poblanos if you don't like it spicy. A lot of recipes will just say chili flakes, so you can use that. So for me, I'm just going to use a nice pepper, cut that in half. If you leave the seeds in, it's a lot hotter. That's where the heat is. And especially if you're cutting hot peppers on your cutting board, definitely clean in between because that flavor is going to transfer onto whatever other item that you may be cutting. And whatever you do, don't touch your face because if you do, your eyes are going to be burning. So our pan is hot. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in there. Swirl that around so that oil gets hot. And I'm going to start off with the onions. Throw those in the pan. You hear that sizzling? So getting your pan warm first. Get that all going. And then I like to season as I go, so I'm just going to add just a little bit of salt here to the onions, not too much. I have started the pans for the flatbread, so those are going. I'm going to put a little tiny bit of oil in each pan just to give a little extra flavor to the bread. I have a brush. I'm going to brush around the pan to get an even coat. There we go. You don't want the heat too high on these. I started it off at just a little bit below medium. I'm going to crank it up to medium because you don't want them to cook too fast because you want to do this at the same time. I'm going to put in the peppers, get those going, put those down a bit. So we have our dough. You can see it has risen just a bit. It's not going to rise like bread. Roll out the dough a little bit, get those going. So just a little bit of flour on your cutting surface. You know, these countertops are fine for rolling out. So if you just have nice countertops, you can do it right on there. I have a nice cutting board. So I'm going to take my dough there and then I'm going to cut it up. I'm going to do, I don't want it too huge, so I'm going to do, I think 3, 6, I'll do 6 pieces. You just cut it up into 6 pieces there. Put that back there for right now so I can work with one. You just want to make sure that you have enough surface space to roll these out. They don't have to be perfect. Got a little rolling pin. Roll those out. You know, like I said, a shape, it's not important. You want to get it flat so it evenly cooks, so you want it to be even all the way around. There we go. I mean, you can make these smaller if you feel this is too big. If you don't have a rolling pin available, you can just stretch it out by hand like pizza dough, or if you have like a glass, you can make that work too. You know, roll that out. Okay, I'm going to throw one of the flatbreads on here. Little bit of pepper grinder here. And these these flatbreads, not quite, almost. You know, you want to make sure they're cooked all the way through. That one's a little closer, but I'll flip it in a minute. I'm going to wait to add the garlic, especially if you have the minced garlic, that way it doesn't burn. I'm going to add the peppers, the hot chili peppers. If you can't flip it like that, just grab yourself a little one of these bad boys and just stir it around. It's super hot. These are ready to be flipped. Woo! Look at that. That one not quite yet. This one's a little bit. This one's good. Add some basil leaves. Just to dry. If you have the dried, you can add it now. If it's fresh, I would wait till you put the sauce in. The tomatoes. a tiny bit more olive oil. Get a little bit more flavor in there. There we go. Some ovens have a warm setting. Mine does not. It's just 170. And just throw them on the pan when they're ready and just put them in the oven to keep warm. Super easy. It's right on in there. Okay. And I have another one ready to go right on there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to add canned diced tomatoes. Oh, not the whole pan. I had a big pan, so I don't need all of it. I'm going to add a little bit of just regular tomato sauce, just to get it thick. Just thicken it up a little bit, not too much. You can use tomato paste if you have it. I didn't have any, so I'm going to use this. And then it's important to season the sauce because the sauce isn't seasoned at all, or the canned diced tomatoes. A bit of that. So I'm going to add my cumin. Go. So once you have the sauce in there, just stir it. If you flip it, you're going to get it everywhere. So you want to let that cook down, because the longer you let it cook down, the more the flavor comes out, and it gets a little thicker. And it's important to taste your food while you're cooking, just to get an idea of the flavor, the seasoning. If you need to add something else, use a tasting spoon. Very nice. This is at a nice simmer. I'll let that go for a few more minutes, and then we're going to put our eggs in there. I'm going to do 4 eggs because I'm doing 2 separate dishes. I'm going to do more than 4 eggs in this pan. Do that here. The next one. Put one in there. Another little, just a tiny little area. There we go. We're going to let these go for a few minutes until the whites are cooked. Depends on how you like your eggs. I like the yolk to be a little runny, so I'm just going to cook it so the whites are cooked and be done with it. But if you want yours over hard, just let it keep going. You can break the yolks in there if you like. If you like your egg over hard, you don't like it runny at all. It's really personal preference. Okay, we are ready to plate. The eggs are going to take a little bit longer than they would if you just had them straight in a pan. So just be prepared for that. You can cover them. Probably takes about 7 minutes, depending on how well you like them done. That's the whole fun of cooking. Do whatever you want. Okay, let's grab that pita bread. It's ready. Okay, and like I said, this pita bread is awesome for making little pizzettes. So if you have some left, and if you have some sauce left, or whatever sauce you want, just throw some on there, some ingredients, whatever you like. Just throw in the oven for about 5 or 6 minutes, and you have yourself a little pizza.